Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and we're reading the Gospel of Luke, and we're up to chapter 6. Egeneto de en Sabbato, dia proes thaiauton dia sporimon, kai etilon hoimethetai autu, kai estheon tus stakuas psocontes tais kesin. And it came to pass on the Sabbath, and we get an accusative and infinitive construction after this egeneto, that he was passing through, and then we get a repetition of the preposition through the sporimon. The sporima it's neuter plural. These are the grain fields. And his disciples, etilon, from tillo, to pluck. This is the imperfect, so they were plucking. Kai estheon, from estheo, imperfect, and they were eating tus stakuas. These are the ears of corn. Psocontes tais kersin. This is a funny participle here from a fairly rare verb, psoko. It does occur in a late writer, the medical writer Nicander. Nowhere else in the New Testament. There is a verb psao with meaning the same thing, to rub. So it's rubbing them with their hands to get rid of the husks, presumably. Tines de ton pharisaion epan, te poie te houk exestin toi sabasin. And certain ones of the Pharisees said, "Why are you doing that which is not allowed, which is not lawful, toi sabasin, on the Sabbath?" We always get this plural here, on the Sabbaths, but it's that's just a grammatical oddity. It's just the Sabbath, but they generally put it into the plural for various reasons. Kai apokrithes pros autus pen hoiesus. And Jesus, having answered and said to them, Ude tuto an egno ti ho epoies san David, hoti epenas en autos kai hoimet autu, and in brackets ontes. Have you never read, from anaginosko, to read? Have you never read that which David did when he himself, epenasen, was hungry? Now, the verb here is peinao, and it's an alpha contract verb, but the alpha doesn't lengthen in this aorist form here. It's a bit like kaleo and teleo. The linking vowel doesn't lengthen, and peinao, it doesn't either. So when he himself was hungry, and those, if you want to take that in brackets, being with him. And then we have a hose in brackets after have you never read how, or that. Eis eilthen es ton oikon tu theou, kai tus artus tes prothesios labon ephagen kai edoken tois metautu. How he entered into the house of God, and having taken the bread or the loaves of the presence, this is the prothesius, the showbread, he ate it, and he gave it to those with him. Hus uk exest in phagain ame it's going to go on to monus. Now the hus is referring back to these loaves, the artus. So which it is not lawful phagain to eat, aorist infinitive from estheo, ame monus tus hieres, except the priests only, except alone the priests. Neuter, the accusative plural from hierus. In classical Greek it's hiereas, but here we're getting the it's the nominative form, but it's become the accusative. So in the accusative you get, in the nominative and accusative you get the same case here. Kai elegen autois, kurios estin tu sabbatu hovios tu theou, and he was saying to them, hovios tu theou, the Son of Man esti kurios is Lord of the Sabbath. Interestingly, Mark here puts a little chi in, even of the Sabbath, but Luke doesn't do that here. Egeneto de en hetero sabbato es elthen auton es ten synagogein kai didaskein. Again, we're getting this egeneto plus accusative and infinitive. So it happened on another Sabbath, doesn't say which one, just another one, that he entered into the synagogue, and it happened that he was teaching. So we get infinitives after the egeneto. So we would just say he was teaching, but there are infinitives after the egeneto. Kai en anthropos kai, there was a man there, kai heker autu he dexia en xera, and his hand, his right hand, dexios is for right, and xera. This is adjective here agreeing with care, which is feminine. Xeros means dry. We interestingly get the Xerox machine was named after this, because unlike earlier copiers used liquids, the Xerox machine was a dry copier, and so they call it Xerox from the Greek. Paraterunto de auton hoi grammates kai hoi pharisaioi ento sabbato therapue. And the scribes and the Pharisees were keeping watch on him. This is paraterio. It means to watch closely or to look at, keep an eye on. If he heals on the Sabbath. Hina hurosin kategoren autu. Now we have to supply something like tit here in order that they might find something to make accusation of him, so something to accuse him of. You'd expect a tit, but it's not there, but it's clear from the sentence what is meant here. Autos de aide to stiologismus auton, and he knew their thoughts, stiologismus. Literally that what they were talking about. It's often rendered as their thoughts, things that they're debating about in themselves. Apende to andri to xeranicon titen kera, and he said to the man, the one having the withered hand, they've separated off the adjective from the noun here, which is perfectly acceptable Greek. It's almost to the man being withered in his hand, but it's grammatically having the withered hand. Egere kai stethi es tomeson, arise and stand in the middle. Kai anastas este, and having got up, he stood there. These are all cognate from histemi. Apen de hoiesus prosautus, and Jesus said to them, Ep eroto humas a exestito sabbato agathopoiesthai e kakapoiesthai, psuken sose apolese. So this is erotao, is the verb here with epi in front. So I ask you if exestin, it is lawful, to sabbato, now here we get the singular, on the Sabbath, agathopoiesai, to do good. You can see the roots there of agathos and poio. Kakopoiesai, or to do bad, to save life or to lose it. So perhaps to save one's own life or to lose it or to perish. Kai periblepsamenos, and looking around, pantos autus, at all of them. So this is the crowd that's there. Apenauto, he said to him, so that's Jesus says to the man with the withered hand, ektenon ten kerasu, stretch out your hand. This is from ekteno, it's just an aorist imperative without the sigma, because you've got a liquid vowel at the end here. Hode epoiesen, and he did this, and ap e katestathe heker autu, and his hand This is generally rendered as was restored. It's apo, kata, and histemi. And you'll notice it's got a double augment. And interestingly, when Mark does exactly the same story in chapter 3, he also uses this exact same verb with the double augment. So it's interesting that Luke has just copied this in. He hasn't attempted to correct it or change it in any way. He's just copied it exactly there. Autoi de eplestes en anoias kai dialalun proselelus tian poie sciento Iesu. And they, eplestes, and they were filled from pimplami and noias. This is that it's alpha privative plus this noia, which is connected with nous. So a lack of nous, so folly or stupidity. But the word apparently seems to mean here something more like senseless anger or fury. It's only here, and it also occurs in 2 Timothy 3:9 in the New Testament, but it does occur in Plato as well. Probably more in the sense of stupidity or lack of thought, but here it's more anger. Kaidia Lalun, and they were debating or talking with one another at whatever thing. Now here we get an optative, which is good classical Greek to do that here, because they haven't. It's in past sequence and they haven't done it. So they were debating as what thing they might do to Jesus. So this is an aorist optative form from poio, perfectly good classical Greek, in fact. Agenetot de entais hemerais tautais, and it came to pass in those days that he went out as to Oros to the mountain Prosyuxasthai to pray. Kai ein dianuk teruon. This is a lovely verb here. It does occur in Xenophon, but it's more of a later Greek word. You can see the roots here. It's dia through nukt, from nux, the night. So this is a participle from a verb meaning to spend the night. So Luke loves this periphrastic construction for the past tense. He was spending the night ente prosuke to theou. It's a funny expression. It's an odd. It doesn't occur anywhere else. It's literally in the prayer of God. So the to theou really here is an objective genitive. So he spent the night in prayer, the object of whom was God. So an objective, or perhaps even a defining genitive. It's an odd phrase here. We would say in prayer to God, but it's in the prayer whose object is God. Kai hoti ageneto hemera, and when it was day, prosephones entus methetos autou, he addressed his disciples, he called to them, kai ek lexamenos, ap auton dodeca, hus kai apostolus onomasin. Now this is from this ek lego root. There's 2 legos. There's lego I say, and there's another lego from a different root, in fact, meaning to choose. It comes into Latin. We get words like elect. It's connected with that. Select in English. It's lego to choose. So this is to choose out. It's not speaking but choosing here. And having chosen out 12 from them, whom also he named apostles. And here we get the list of these. Now there are 4 lists of apostles in the New Testament. One is in Matthew 10, and then we get Mark 3, we get here in Luke, and also in Acts chapter 1 we get a list as well. And the lists are actually not consistent with each other. There are some variations in the order, and there are variations towards the end of the lists in the names. So I'll leave you to investigate that if you're interested in this, but it's possibly because in the early church it wasn't clear exactly who the original 12 were, and there's some variation. The main ones who continued on, people like Peter, of course, and James and Andrew and John, they were well known, but some of the other ones towards the end, there was a bit of confusion, I think. So whom he named apostles, Simon, whom also he named Petros, which is interesting because he probably didn't say Petros, he probably said Kephas, which is the Aramaic equivalent, but then it comes into Greek as Petros and hence Peter. Because Petros, of course, is a Greek name. Kai Andrean, his brother, Andrew, his brother. Interesting combination here that his original name was Shimon, Jewish name. His brother's Andreas, a Greek name. Jacobos, Kai Ioannan, James and John, good Hebrew names. Kai Philippon and Philip. Kai Bartolomeon, often rendered as Bartholomew or Bartolomeus. Bar is an Aramaic word equivalent to the Hebrew ben, meaning son of, so this is son of Ptolemaeus. Kai Matthion, so that's Matthew, and Toman, this is Thomas, and James, son of Alphaeus, or with a breathing Halphaeus here in fact, but generally transliterated as Alphaeus. Kai Shimona to Kolumene Zeloten, and Simon, who is called the Zealot. And again, you'll need to consult commentaries on this. These zealots may have been a particular group who were particularly zealous for the Jewish law. You'll have to look at the commentaries on that name there. And Judas, the son of James, and Judan Iscarioth, and Judas Iscariot, hos egeneto prosdotes, who became a prosdotes, a traitor. Prodidomize, to hand someone over and hence betray them. And this is just the noun, first declension noun from that, prodotes, the traitor. The name Iscarioth, much has been written on this. It may be connected with the Latin word for a little dagger, and these were people who were essentially terrorist assassins who used to go around and stab people in the crowd using a little sharp knife, and that's maybe the origin of the name here, that this Judas was originally connected with these this group of assassins. And much has been written on this, and I'll leave you to read it further yourself. So that's the first little section from chapter 6.